If you are watching this before sleep, do not close it. What happens in the next few minutes before your eyes close tonight will determine how your mind works for the next 8 hours. Not metaphorically, mechanically. Most people waste this moment, not because they don't care, not because they lack intention, because nobody ever explained to them what the mind actually does in the minutes before sleep, and why those minutes are the most powerful window of the entire 24-hour cycle. Robert Collier understood this in 1926. He documented it with a precision that nobody has matched since. And what he wrote about the moments before sleep, about what the mind becomes, what it opens to, and what it does with whatever you place inside it, is the most important thing you will ever encounter on this subject. Tonight, I am going to show you exactly what Collier documented. One technique, not visualization as it is commonly taught, not affirmations, not forcing emotion or imagination, the correct way to give an instruction to the subconscious mind, at the precise moment it is most open to receive it. This has existed since 1926. Almost nobody is using it correctly. Some of you already know the mind is more receptive before sleep. You have heard it mentioned. You have tried something in that space. A visualization, an affirmation, a feeling you attempted to hold as you drifted off. And it felt like it worked sometimes, and other times it felt like you were speaking into an empty room. And you never understood why the results were inconsistent. Here is why. You were using the right window with the wrong method. The window is real. Collier documented it. Modern neuroscience has confirmed it. The minutes before sleep are the most receptive state your mind enters in any given day. But receptive does not mean it will accept anything. The subconscious mind in that state is not passive. It is selective. It does not respond to wishes. It does not respond to emotional intensity. It does not respond to repetition. It responds to one thing: clarity. A single, precise, present tense instruction, delivered without desperation, without effort, without the grasping quality of someone who needs something they do not yet have. Collier wrote in 1926, "The subconscious mind is not moved by the strength of your desire. It is moved by the clarity of your instruction. And the moment before sleep, when the conscious mind grows quiet and the subconscious becomes accessible, is the moment your instruction reaches deepest." That sentence contains the entire teaching. If what you just heard reframes something you have been doing for years, hit the like button. It tells me this kind of content is worth going deeper on. Now, stay, because what comes next is the part that changes everything. Here is what Collier actually documented about what happens to the mind before sleep. During the day, your conscious mind is in charge. It analyzes, it compares, it defends, it reacts to every stimulus the external world throws at it. This is useful. It keeps you functioning in a world that demands constant navigation. But it is a terrible state for changing deep mental patterns. Because in that state, the beta state, the state of full waking consciousness, the mind questions everything. It doubts. It resists. It cross-references every new idea against every old belief it has accumulated across years. This is why you can repeat an affirmation all day long and change nothing. The conscious mind hears it. The subconscious never receives it, because the gatekeeper is fully awake and fully armed. But when night comes, when the body begins to slow, when muscles release their tension, when breathing deepens and steadies, something critical happens. The gatekeeper begins to sleep, the conscious mind grows quiet, and in that quiet, for a window of minutes that Collier documented as the most valuable real estate in the entire human experience, the subconscious becomes directly accessible. No gatekeeper, no resistance, no cross-referencing against old beliefs. Just an open channel between your deliberate intention and the part of your mind that actually runs your life. Collier called this the open moment. He wrote, "Every man has access to this moment every single night of his life. Most men spend it reviewing the disappointments of the day, and so the subconscious, which takes its final instruction and works with it through the night, receives a program of limitation and returns it, faithfully, as tomorrow's experience, every single night. Without exception, without mercy." Reread that. The subconscious takes its final instruction and works with it through the night. What you give it in those minutes is what it processes, reinforces, and weaves deeper into your operating system while you sleep. This is not theory. This is the mechanism Collier documented 99 years ago, and it is running whether you are using it deliberately or not. The question is not whether the mechanism is real. The question is what you have been feeding it. Now here is what Collier documented as the correct method for using the open moment. And here is where most people make the mistake that costs them everything. They try too hard. Collier was precise about this. He said the subconscious mind in the pre-sleep state does not respond to effort. It does not respond to intensity. It does not respond to the urgent, grasping, desperate energy of someone who needs something they do not have. That energy, the energy of need, is itself a program, and it is the program most people accidentally install. Every time they try to use this window deliberately, they lie down. They try to visualize their goal. They try to feel abundant, or loved, or successful. And underneath the visualization, underneath the feeling they are forcing, is the quiet, unmistakable signal of someone who does not yet have what they are pretending to have. The subconscious reads the signal, not the performance. Collier wrote, "The subconscious does not hear what you say to it. It reads what you are, and if what you are in those final moments is a person in lack, performing the feeling of abundance, that is the instruction it receives, and that is the program it runs." This is why people can use the pre-sleep window for months and produce nothing. Not because the window isn't real, because they are installing the wrong program at the right moment. Collier's documented method eliminates this problem through a single shift. Stop performing, start instructing. Before I show you the exact method, there is something in the description I need you to know about. Collier wrote 7 volumes. What I am sharing tonight comes from one chapter of one volume. The other 6 volumes contain things about this mechanism that I cannot cover in a single video. Things that change how the method works. Things that most people who study this subject have never read. If you close this video tonight without clicking that link, you will have the technique. But you will not have the complete picture. And the complete picture is what separates the people who use this correctly from the people who use it almost correctly. Almost correctly produces nothing. The link is in the description. It is free. Go there after this. Now, the method. Here is the precise method Collier documented in 1926. Step 1. When you lie down tonight, do not try to relax. Do not try to feel good. Do not try to empty your mind. Simply lie down and allow the body to do what it already knows how to do. It knows how to slow down. It knows how to release tension. It has been doing this every night of your life without your instruction. Your only task is to stop interfering with it. Step 2. As the body settles, begin counting slowly in your mind, backward, from 5 to 1. 5. Notice the body growing heavier. 4. Notice the sounds around you becoming less urgent. 3. Notice the thoughts beginning to slow. 2. Notice the quality of silence deepening. 1. Stop. Do not do anything for a moment. Collier documented this pause as the most important beat in the entire sequence. He called it the threshold, the moment between waking and sleep, where the conscious mind has not yet surrendered, but is no longer fully in command. This is the open moment. This is where the instruction goes. Step 3. Formulate one single instruction, not a list, not a wish, not a request. One instruction, present tense, without emotional strain, without the grasping quality of someone who needs the outcome. Something like, my mind is working toward the clearest path forward. Or, while I sleep, this situation is being resolved at the level I cannot consciously access. Or simply, I wake with clarity. Collier was emphatic about the simplicity. He wrote, "The subconscious mind does not respond to complexity. It does not understand decorated language or elaborate requests. It responds to simple, direct, present tense instructions delivered without the noise of conscious effort." One instruction, said once, clearly, without repetition, without analysis, without waiting for confirmation. Step 4. Let it go completely. This is where most people fail. Not because the method doesn't work, because they cannot stop watching. They give the instruction, and then they lie there monitoring the subconscious to see if it received it. They repeat it, they adjust it. They wonder if they said it correctly. They check whether they feel different. All of that monitoring, all of that watching and adjusting, is the conscious mind reasserting control at the exact moment it needs to step aside. Collier wrote, "The subconscious works best when it is not being observed, when it is not being rushed, when it is not being questioned. Give the instruction, then release it completely. Fall asleep. Trust the mechanism, the way you trust your body to regulate your heartbeat. You do not monitor your heart to make sure it beats. You trust the system, and the system delivers. Do the same with this." If this is the first time you have heard the name Robert Collier, leave a dot below. Just one. I want to know how many people this is reaching for the first time. Now here is what Collier documented about how the results arrive. This is the part most people do not understand, and it is the part that causes them to abandon the method before it has time to work. The result does not arrive the way you expect it to arrive. It does not drop into your lap the morning after the first session. It does not arrive with fanfare or with obvious causation. It arrives the way all subconscious work arrives. Quietly, sideways, through a channel you did not plan. Sometimes it arrives as an idea upon waking, a solution that appears fully formed in the mind before you have spoken a word. Sometimes it arrives as a certainty during an ordinary moment of the day, a sudden knowing that has no logical source. Sometimes it arrives as a person, someone who appears at a moment you did not engineer and says exactly what you needed to hear. Sometimes it arrives as a circumstance, an opening that presents itself in a direction you were not looking. Collier documented this with a case study from his correspondence files. A man came to him with a business problem he had been unable to solve for 3 months. Every conscious approach had failed. Every logical strategy had dead-ended. Collier gave him one instruction. Tonight before you sleep, give your subconscious the problem, not the solution. The problem, state it clearly, once, then release it. The man did this for 4 nights. On the 5th morning, while shaving, not thinking about the problem at all, the solution arrived, complete, specific, immediately actionable. He wrote to Collier, "It was as if someone had been working on it while I slept and handed me the answer when I woke." Collier replied, "Someone was, you were, at the level of mind that does not sleep, at the level that works through the night on whatever final instruction it receives before your eyes close. That is not a metaphor. That is the mechanism, and it has been available to you every single night of your entire life. If this channel is showing you things about the mind that nobody else is covering, subscribe. Every few days we go deeper into what these men documented 100 years ago, the things that were removed, the things that never made it into the books you already know. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next." Here is what Collier wrote at the end of his chapter on pre-sleep programming. The chapter his publisher considered too specific to include in the popular edition. He wrote, "The man who masters this moment, the brief, sacred window between waking and sleep, has placed himself in command of 8 hours of mental labor he does not have to perform consciously every night. For the rest of his life, while his body rests, his mind works. While his competitors sleep unconsciously, he programs deliberately, and the gap between them, invisible at first, becomes over months and years, a distance that appears to those outside as extraordinary luck, unusual opportunity, or some mysterious favor of circumstance. It is none of those things. It is the compound interest of 8 hours of directed mental work performed every night without exception, for as long as the practice continues, not eventually every night. Starting tonight." Robert Collier documented this technique in 1 chapter, but what he wrote in the 6 volumes surrounding it, the conditions that make the technique work at its full capacity, the specific mental preparation that determines whether the instruction reaches the subconscious cleanly or dissolves before it lands. That is not something I can give you in a video. It needs to be read, in his words, in the order he wrote it. The link in the description takes you directly to the source, not a summary of Collier, not someone's interpretation. Collier, free. If you close tonight without clicking it, you will have the technique. But the technique without the foundation is a seed planted in unprepared soil. The link is there. It costs you nothing, and what is behind it is what most people who study manifestation have never actually read. Tonight, you do not need to do anything extraordinary. You only need to do one thing. As your eyes grow heavy, after the body has begun to slow and the mind has grown quiet, give it one instruction, one clear, present tense, effortless instruction. Then let it go and sleep. While you rest, the part of you that never sleeps will begin working on the problem you gave it, on the life you described to it, on the version of reality you quietly, specifically, without desperation, placed inside it at the only moment it was fully open to receive. Robert Collier wrote about this window in 1926. He called it the most underused resource in the history of human achievement. It is still there, every night, waiting for a clear instruction. Tonight, give it one.